Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Living with Annietude on this beautiful Tuesday evening at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for joining us. So I have a guest tonight, a very special guest named Kaitlyn Dundorf. She's having some trouble logging on, but the show must go on. So I've decided to pop on anyway so we can keep up with consistency. And this is what I'll talk about. I'll talk about the fact that I hope that she pops on because it's nerve-wracking when you have something planned in your head and it doesn't, I see her, and it doesn't happen the way it's supposed to. Hold on one sec, Katie. So I decided to just push through, and even though that was uncomfortable, I am comfortable because not only is she here, but I pushed through anyway. So here we go. I will bring her on right now. Welcome, Katie Dundorf, to the show. Hi, Katie. I'm so glad you got logged on. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. It was just, I have a really old Mac that got like at a garage sale type thing, and it does not always want to work with me.
I feel like that always happens like right when you don't, like if you didn't have a show to be on, it would be fine. Completely fine. Murphy's Law, totally. So I didn't do an intro for you. What I did for my intro was I didn't know when you were going to be on. So I just sort of said, this is uncomfortable because I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about, but I'm going to push through anyway because we have to go out of our comfort zone sometimes. So that represents living with Annietude, right? So we're just trying to put our best foot forward, be our best self, and even when it gets uncomfortable, to push through. So that's like going to be sort of the theme of the night. But will you do a brief intro on yourself just so you can tell the audience kind of a little bit about yourself and then we'll go from there?
Yeah, totally. So my name's Kaitlyn. I'm from New Jersey, Central Jersey. I just graduated high school, and kind of what I'm best known for is an Instagram account that I started a couple months ago, and I actually got featured on Tea with Gary V. So with Gary Vaynerchuk, and that kind of, I went from 83 followers to like over 1,000 in a couple days. So that's what I'm best known for. But basically, I just wanted to create a space that would build an environment and community of purpose-driven living and positivity and empowerment, and to kind of share as I'm finding my journey and continuing it to figure out what I want to do with my life and how I want to live it. It's just a way for me to kind of connect with other people, on that same journey, and to spread some love. So, yeah.
Look, I did a little ticker for you at the bottom. This is exciting for me. So when you get to be almost 42 years old, you get really excited about little things like tickers at the bottom of the screen. So this is like when I get packages in the mail and I get really excited, like even if it's like a trash can or something, I say to my son, like, look, I got my trash can. And he's like, what is wrong with you? Because he's 10. He's like, and I said, this is what 41-year-old moms get excited about. So yay for my ticker, but also you and I are so aligned with our missions. I just happen to be more than twice your age, and I'm finding myself right now. So I'm starting to wonder, like, is it a constant, did I just start late, or is it just a constant practice and wondering of where we're going, where we're supposed to be, what we want to do? I think it's kind of like always evolving. Do you feel like this just came over you one day, that this is what you needed to do, or was it a slow process, or how did it happen?
So I like to say that, like, I was always kind of different as a kid in the fact that, like, I looked around me and I saw so many adults that just were living these lives that were either kind of on a spectrum of like flat out miserable to people who were, okay with their life. They were satisfied. They were all right. But they weren't truly excited about every day. They didn't have that vibrancy, that passion, that excitement to get up every day. And I became really curious about the few people I met who I felt like had that special characteristic. And for me, I would call them lovely souls. And every time I saw a lovely soul or met one, I would write it down in my journal. And I just started observing these types of people and really trying to make them my friends, make them my mentors. And it became kind of, from a young age, this really big pursuit in my life to figure out how to end up like those lovely souls and not like so many people I saw around me. So I think journaling was a really big part of that, because it kind of documented all of those thoughts and all of those, just experiments and observations I was making. But it definitely was a slow process because it really came from that. And it came from years of just observing what it meant to live a good life and really, really being terrified that I wouldn't live one and that I wouldn't live a wonderful life and a good life and a life well lived. So I think that's constantly kind of been at the forefront of my brain. But it's been many, many years that I kind of just had this yearning, like, I want to do something big. I want to do something bigger than just myself. And I had a lot of ideas, and I still do. And I still have a lot of time to, flesh those all out. But the Instagram was kind of this first ditch effort of, I want to do something. I want to share what's been going on in my mind for so many years. And yeah, so it was kind of that first.
I don't know the exact story. Like, I don't know what went on. Like, you just what happened? Like, you posted something, and then, like, how did he get involved? Like, if you don't mind, you probably told the story a million times, but I'm dying to know the details.
Yeah, so I ended up just texting. Gary Vee has a community app, and I ended up texting him a few questions, and I did that like 5 or 6 times, and I think on the 6th time I got a response back from someone on his team saying, like, hey, Gary wants to answer your question live tomorrow. So I had like 24 hours to prepare, and I was on the show. So.
Oh my gosh, was that so exciting? Was he cool? Was he exactly how he presents, or was he?
Totally.
He's exactly.
He's very much himself in every way, and he's definitely a polarizing person, but it was super fun to talk with him because he's like a fiery person. So it was fun.
What was your question? Do you remember your exact question?
So I basically asked. So I actually kind of figured this question out till this day, but I was in the middle of kind of choosing between going to college or taking a gap year. And I kind of said, like, for someone who wants to live a purpose-driven life, how do you suggest choosing between these 2 paths? And how do I choose a purpose-driven path? And since that day, I kind of made my decision, which has been fun. But yeah, that kind of started the conversation, and it went in a few different other directions. So that's where it started.
Well, what's your decision? Can you share, or is this not public?
Yeah. So I'm actually taking a gap year, and I'm going to be doing a year of service with AmeriCorps, which is kind of like the domestic Peace Corps. So I'll be doing service projects starting in Colorado and then traveling around the Southwest.
That's so exciting. So how's that been affected by COVID and everything going on?
I know the projects that we might be doing will be different. It's possible that we could be doing like tracing work for COVID. It's possible that we could be, involved in that. I'm not sure exactly what it's all going to look like yet. They don't actually tell you until you're there.
Like one of those mystery trips. Have you seen those?
No.
Yeah. Okay. So get this. This is what you're going on, but it's like you're doing good. But you can sign up for these mystery trips, and you pick, like, you go with somebody and you pick like a price range. So you can say, like, I want it to be for under 1,000. I want it to be for over 1,000. I want it to be for 5,000. And they plan the whole trip for you, and you don't know till you get to the airport. You open an envelope, and like they'll tell you like the day before what you should pack, basically. But it's actually like an actual mystery trip. So that's sort of what you have going on here, but
kind of
with acts of service involved. So it's kind of like even better because you're giving back while being surprised.
Yeah.
How exciting.
It is really exciting, and it will constantly be changing. Like, they even said, like, you should be ready within like 3 or 4 hours of us telling you to like pick up all of your stuff and move to the next location. So it's like very much a big surprise as where I'll be going and what I'll be doing and all of that.
Wow. That's really exciting. So are you like, and you're not going with anyone you know?
Nope.
You are bold and brave, and you already know all these things because you've been told this, and you know it because you know it. I can tell that you know it in your fire and in your heart and soul. And it's really interesting because I feel very similarly to you now, but I definitely was not that way when I graduated high school. So you're like an old soul in that, you're sort of destined to do these wonderful things. And it just shows you that, like, we're supposed to take our path. The way that our path goes is where we're supposed to be. So like, I believe truly that you and I are both supposed to be right here, right now. And I'm supposed to be taking this path that I'm taking, and you're taking this mystery path, but also not a mystery. And, either way, the best part is that that, so we have a comment. The best part is that that, thank you, Mike, that, you're doing good and you're giving back. And I just think it's so empowering and exciting that someone your age, and I know that everybody focuses on your age. I don't want to spotlight that too much, because age is just a number. If you told me I was 17 or 18, I would be totally. I feel that way half the time. The other half, I'm I'm old. But, I just think that it's very inspiring for a leader in my, and I just graduated business school. So you learn a lot about leadership and entrepreneurship and things like that. And I feel like a true leader leads by example, models the way, shows the way, does the next best thing. And that's living with Annietude, what I try to promote. So I feel like that's what you're doing already at your age with not a lot of experience under your belt. And I think that's just really cool. And you're modeling the way for people, your peers. And I don't know, do you feel like what kind of feedback are you getting from your peers and your, people your age?
Some mixed feedback. I think I've gotten so much support just from strangers, honestly. The amount of people on the internet that have just been so welcoming and so wonderful has been crazy to me. And that's been one of my favorite parts about this entire journey, is just I've been able to connect with people from all around the world. And today, we never would have talked had I not, started a random Instagram channel. But
I know
that's been my favorite part. But I've gotten kind of overwhelming, gracious feedback from strangers, and then some mixed reviews from people who actually know me, which is kind of been interesting, just because I don't know, you expect some of the people closest to you to be your biggest supporters, and I definitely have them. I'm not short of that. But there's definitely been some people that don't understand what I'm doing, and that's okay.
There's surprise, you have surprised some people, their reaction has surprised you a little bit.
Yeah. So and that's okay. I think it's I feel like I'm on the best path that I can make for myself, and it's a path made out of love, and it's the way forward I've felt was best for me. So I think that's the best I can do, and that's not going to jive with everyone, and that's totally okay. So yeah.
No, I mean, look, you see it with celebrities, you see it with everybody in our personal lives. You're not always going to have everybody's support. And, it would be nice if someone could just say Katie, rah, rah, everybody across the board was psyched for you. But you know what I'm finding? I think in life, when people react in a way like that, it can come from a couple different places, but it's whatever place it comes from, it's about them.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
And they have their opinions, and and what you do with it is up to you. It would be strange and probably fake if you had everybody's support across the board. But the truth of the matter is, you are powerful in what you're doing. So I don't ever like to say it doesn't matter what anybody thinks, because I was interviewed today, and I said that, and she said, you shouldn't care what anybody thinks. And I said, well, I think in reality, it matters sometimes what people think a little bit, it affects us. So let's not pretend like it doesn't. But it's what we do with that information that I think is important. Okay, like you said, that's okay. It's okay for not everybody to want to do what you're doing. It's okay for them to say, I don't think that's a good idea. And for whatever reason that they feel that way is on them.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, you definitely have gotten a really nice following, and you definitely have the supporters that you need. But I think the most important part is that you support your decision. You feel really strongly about your mystery trip. And
it's funny, because it's I actually had a teacher who kind of not encouraged me to do the trip, but encouraged me to make my own decision. And I really had been thinking about this since freshman year, but I got really just fed up with high school, to be quite honest, and just kind of done with it, because it was my life, for freshman and sophomore year, even junior year for the most part. I was a full-time gymnast, a full-time student, and that was kind of like everything I had.
Every minute of the day, yeah.
And I feel like I always had that voice in my head that was like, I want something more. I want to do something bigger. But that didn't really like overcome me until like junior, senior year. So I think like it's interesting because I kind of look at it and like, this is one of the first decisions that I really made for myself. And I think like that happened the first time I quit gymnastics because it just wasn't a great environment anymore. And that happened especially with this. This was kind of like the first real decision that I was like, I didn't not have my parents' support, but they definitely, their vision for me was always, she's going to go to college right away. Like that was just what they saw. So when I told them like, hey, I think I'm going to do this, like I'm going to apply, it was definitely met with some hesitation. But it's really interesting to me because I'm looking at it and I'm like, this really is one of the first decisions that I've made completely by myself out of my own, accord. And that's been really like, I'm really proud of that in a lot of ways. And it's just like,
it's impressive.
Together.
because think about, Katie, think about all the people that might have had these dreams or these feelings of having a mission or a reason or a purpose. And they were too worried about what their parents thought or their friends thought to take action. Yeah. And that totally shows the kind of person that you are and what you're made of. And you weren't afraid to make your decision. And obviously, I mean, I don't know the specifics, but it seems like even if it was met with hesitation, I'm thinking as a parent that I might meet that my child with the same hesitation, like just completely transparent. And it makes sense. And it's like, okay, wait a second. This is what I thought you were going to do. This is a natural progression. And I think it says it's a testament to your parents and how they raised you too, because they didn't step in and say no and try to control you.
Yeah,
and they empowered you to make that decision. So that says something about them as well. And that sort of helps me to come full circle and understand why you are the way that you are.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think it's really interesting because I've always been really grateful to my parents because they always like, I have two older brothers that are older than me, 7 years and 9 years older than me. So they have very different kind of life. They're on different paths and they've gone through life in a different way than me, which has given me really interesting, viewpoints to look at how, my parents have raised them and what their decisions have made in their life. But what we were talking the other day, and we kind of said that one of our favorite things about our parents is that they always gave us the option to be whoever we wanted to be. And like, they obviously had their ideas for what that was going to look like, what life was going to look like. But at the end of the day, like my brother, he ended up dropping out of college to start his own business, or he took a pause from college to start his own business in New York City and pursue life as an entrepreneur. So it's like, it's decisions like that all three of us have kind of made unconventional decisions, but have always gotten that support from our parents that at the end of the day, they might have, that wouldn't have been their decision for him, but they were going to support him. They're going to support us to be the people we want to be. And I've always just been so grateful to them for that.
That is, first of all, just amazing that they're like that. Second of all, that you recognize that and that you're aware of that is so important because, I'm somebody that always made decisions, and I'm not putting this on my parents. I'm totally putting this on me, but I'm just taking responsibility. I always made decisions for other people. It's just what I thought was the right thing to do. And I just, in the last year, truly in my 41st year, I started to become this person that could believe it or not, people would meet me and not realize it. I had a great cover on, but I really, truly didn't make decisions for me. Yeah. And until I decided to change and do the work to get there, I can blame whomever I want. I can say this is this person's fault, or I can't believe she said this, or she judged me on that. But the truth is it's me, and I needed to find my worth and my value. And you were raised with a lot of worth, and your parents valued you and you value yourself. And it's just amazing to see when it seems like and I'm not saying it's perfect, but when it seems like there's really healthy relationships, sort of that support. It's really nice for me to see as a parent because I don't have kids, my kids are 10 and 8. So I don't have children that are at making these decisions yet, but it's nice to see and refreshing to see people that are I see a lot of acceptance here.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of reluctance. There might be some hesitation, which is totally healthy and normal, but there's acceptance of your voice. And that's why part of the reason that you're going to do big things and the reason that you're so inspired and so confident in yourself and what you want to do, and your path much earlier than a lot of people. I did not know my path for many years, and that's nobody's fault. It's just is what it is, and I needed to live my life the way I lived it and to get here where I am today. But I think that it really says something about the parents that you have, and also the person that you are, and the examples that your brothers set too. I mean, I don't know if you're close with them too, but they sort of like set it up for you a tiny bit.
They did.
I mean, it's different when you're the oldest and you have to take the hit for everything first.
Yeah.
So I think that, for all those people out there that are thinking, I think everybody needs to really look at whether they're making decisions for themselves or if they're making decisions for other people. And if you're not making decisions for yourself, I think that you really have to take a look at that, but also meet that with the fact that, like you said about your parents being hesitant, like that's okay. It's okay that they were like that. Like they didn't meet you with, no, you're not doing this and controlling and telling you what to do. They were naturally. And I think that's so important because there's a healthiness around open communication, like that really shows, kind of good parenting. And I think it's a real testament to kind of just who you are and how your parents sort of raised you. And I think that's amazing. What else do you want people? Oh, wait, I wanted to say, what else do you want people to know about you? But I'm going to save that for 1 second. Do you ever go back and look at your journals? Like, do you reread them? How often do you do that? And what have you found in reviewing them?
Well, it's interesting because I think, like, in one sense, a lot of times I'll be relearning the same lessons. And I'm realizing that, and it just kind of like, I don't know, that's definitely something I've realized, that you kind of go through these lessons and it's like that hits one day and you forget it the next and then it hits again. So like that's one thing, but you also see kind of how you've grown, and it's interesting too, kind of seeing how some people come into your life and then will be there for a season and not the next. But seeing how important each of those relationships are in kind of your entire path. And I've definitely, I love that I have so many journals because it's my life. Like I always tell my parents and everyone I know, I'm like, if I ever die, like it's too early, you just have to go and publish all of my journals. Hold on 1 second.
Hi. Hello. Welcome. How are you? This is what live streaming is. Welcome to the show. You're living with Annietude.
Thanks, Ed. Anyway, so
that's adorable. You were thirsty. I wish I had somebody bringing me a drink.
But anyway, so I love that I have so many journals, and I always tell my dad and everyone else that if I ever die like too early, to go and read through my journals and publish them, because
that's okay.
It's just my life. And I think like it's the truest expression of who I am, is just there. And it's all of the thoughts, it's all of the things that, that inspire me, that move me. And that's really awesome. And I think like I definitely will go through phases where I'll write a ton and sometimes I'll write nothing. And like, I like seeing that, but looking through it, definitely it's interesting because you see what kind of moved you in that season. And you see how like you can change so much, but yet there's something really core that stays the same. Yeah. I don't know if that's
the root of you and the core of you remains, but you can also see where you've grown and maybe where you want to grow and develop even more, which is pretty amazing. I find writing to be extremely cathartic. And I find when I don't write, I am not acting as my best self all the time. I act as my best self when I write and reflect on a daily basis.
100%.
So even when I don't feel like it.
Yeah. And I think something that I kind of learned was that like, for me, like writing is a way for me to feel seen and feel known. And I think it's even more important for me to be known by myself than it is sometimes to be known by others. Because when I can kind of know myself intricately and what guides me and what upsets me and what, makes me move, I think like I just can go about the world in such a different way. And I think that's who I am. And that's what I've learned through writing. It's just like, there's so much to know. And I think a lot of times we forget that, and we forget to have that intimate relationship with ourselves. And I think like my relationships have all flourished, or the ones that have flourished are because of that internal like work I've done on just knowing myself. I think from that place going out into the world, I am just so much better prepared to tackle whatever.
Yeah, you are going to have to be with like an older man, because not like an old man, but like you are never in a million years going to be with a guy your age. Like maybe when you're older, I don't know. All I can think of is like how immature men are in general. And like you are just light years ahead of people your age. And if you're dating someone now, I feel for him, because there is no way that he could keep up, whatever the case may be. It's not a bad thing. It's a compliment. I just feel bad for these men that they just have no shot in like your depth is too overwhelmingly good. So in the last few minutes, now that I've given you the dating advice on the Living with Annietude show, I just wanted to ask you, if there's anything else you want to add. It goes so fast, the half hour, but you're just a beautiful gem of a girl and woman. And I'm so proud of you and the things that you're doing. And I just think you're incredible. Like I really do. And I don't hand that out. So like, I really do. And I can't wait to see what you do. I can't wait to see what you do. It's going to be amazing. And also, you know where to come for dating advice.
Absolutely. Might take you up on that.
Yeah. But if you want, like, if there's if you want to say how people can reach you or see you or talk to you or learn more about you.
Yeah. So anyone can reach me through, if they want to DM me, or I'm on LinkedIn, Katie Dundorf, but otherwise my Instagram is Katie_Dundorf. So just my name right there with a little underscore in between. So anyone who wants to reach me can do that there. And I love talking to people. So anyone who wants to, feel free to go for it.
That's awesome. I'm like, this is how techie I am. Okay. So if I make a banner with your name on it, it's Katie_Dundorf, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Okay. Ready? This is so big. Ready? Look at that. Yeah. Isn't that fancy? This is what we get excited about. Act like you're 40, 41, almost 42. Yay. Yay. So we had a couple of comments just before we go. We have some of our hello ladies from Gabe. He is saying you're inspiring at both ends of the rainbow. He's talking about my interview today that I did. My parents, that's Kenny. He's wonderful. And then they're talking back and forth to each other. Better late than never, Annie. Yay, I do finally value myself. This is why we're here, to figure this out. And both you ladies are amazing. I will leave that comment up because I just think that that's a really important thing for us to end on. So my dear, it was wonderful chatting with you. You are a bright light in a sea of sometimes darkness, and I appreciate you. And I understand why everybody made such a big deal and wanted you to come on my show. So thank you for being here. And that is the banner that we're using right now. So go visit Katie, DM her, see what amazing things she's going to do. And I will see you soon, my dear.
Thank you so much. This has been so much fun.
Oh, it really has. Everybody subscribe and like Living with Annietude podcast, and we will see you later.